Officer Donald Vance, consumed by a toxic brew of unchecked power and racial animosity, swaggered into the courtroom, his voice dripping with contempt. "This black woman is the judge." "I'm not taking orders from a maid," he muttered, his inflated ego evident. He never imagined the repercussions of his blatant disrespect. Judge Alana Rivers, 42, a picture composure, sat behind the bench. Her dark skin, serene expression, and piercing gaze commanded the room without a single raised voice. She had encountered men like Vance before, arrogant and threatened by a black woman in a position of authority. Yet today felt different. Vance wasn't just disrespectful. He was dangerous. "You're in my court now, Officer Vance," she stated calmly. "Watch your tone." But he simply laughed, stepping forward as if he owned the space. "You're not my judge. You don't belong up there. I don't take orders from people like you." Alana held her ground, but Vance's eyes narrowed. Then, in a sudden, shocking move, he slapped her across the face. Gasps echoed through the courtroom, the crack of the blow like thunder. Her head snapped from a force, but she remained standing. Slowly, she straightened, her lips already swelling, a bruise blossoming on her face. "Now, maybe you'll listen," he sneered. "You only got that robe to tick a diversity box. Don't think it means anything." Still, she didn't flinch. "Get out of my courtroom," she said coldly. "Officer Miller," she called to the young man by the door. "Do your job." Miller hesitated. Stunned, Vance barked out a laugh. "Even your own people don't back you. You're nothing but a symbol, an upgraded slave playing judge." The words hung in the air, thick with malice. Alana stood up, slow and controlled. "Officer Donald Vance, you're under arrest for assaulting a federal authority." His smirk vanished. "You're joking," he spat, but she wasn't. A prosecutor stepped forward, and Miller finally moved. Within seconds, Vance was handcuffed, his arms pulled behind him by the very officers who had once condoned his cruelty. As they dragged him out, a flicker of memory crossed his mind. A wooden porch in Kansas, his father snarling, "Don't play with those black kids. You're white. You're better." He was 7, and that was the day he shared a sandwich with Jerome, the black boy who never returned to school after Vance's father found out. The seed of rage was planted, deep and festering. By 17, his father had drunk himself to death, still preaching fear and superiority. Make them respect you. Make them fear you. And Donald did. He joined the force, rising through the ranks, not for fairness but for control. He knew how to write false reports, how to plant drugs, how to keep his record clean. He hurt people, especially black people, and no one stopped him. He became a symbol of fear in their communities, a badge backed by a system that looked the other way. Until today. Now, with cameras flashing, Vance was dragged down a hall he once strutted through. He didn't cry, but something burned in his eyes. Hatred, not regret. Outside, the city stirred. Marissa Delgado, an investigative journalist known for unearthing buried stories, watched the footage of Alana Rivers being slapped on the bench. The raw brutality of it compelled her to dig deeper. She found it, a sealed report from 2018. Malik Jefferson, 19, arrested for resisting, his injuries including a shattered jaw, broken ribs, and bruises down his back. Officer in charge, Donald Vance. No body cam footage. Case dismissed. But now, eyes were opening, and not the first time, was spray painted on courthouse walls. This wasn't just a case. It was a reckoning. Friday at 10 a.m., the trial would begin, but protests already filled the streets by Tuesday. Vance's name was everywhere. Judge Rivers, recovering at home, stood firm, but whispers ran through City Hall. Vance wasn't acting alone. Others had helped hide reports. Officers, officials, their names still protected. And one name was missing from the files, a name Marissa had just found, someone who signed off on Vance's false reports. Someone inside Judge Rivers' own chambers. She picked up the phone. "Judge Rivers, we need to talk. You're not the only one he hurt." Malik Jefferson had screamed for justice once, walking into the precinct beside his mother, bruised and broken, begging someone, anyone, to believe him. But all he got was silence. The prosecutor tossed the case, citing his criminal record, a traffic ticket, a wrongful detention at 15. That was enough to silence him. And he wasn't the only one. In 2016, Cassandra Riles, a 33-year-old mother of three, was slammed against a patrol car for simply carrying groceries in her own neighborhood. Officer Donald Vance had called her a racial slur, then drove her face into pavement, leaving her with 2 missing teeth and blood on the sidewalk. She filed complaint. There were witnesses, photos. It was dismissed anyway. Contradictory statements. They said, now, sitting in the front row of Vance's trial, uniform pristine, eyes cold, was the same supervisor who had signed off on the dismissal of both cases, pretending none of it ever happened. Inside his holding cell, Vance wasn't shaken, wasn't remorseful. "Witch hunt," he growled at his lawyer, a tired man with nicotine breath and a twitchy pen. "You better fix this, because if I go down, a whole lot of people are going with me." The lawyer grimaced. "Donald, the evidence, photos, medical records, testimony. This isn't like the others." Vance's eyes narrowed. "Photos of black people whining? That's evidence now? Please. I've done more for this city than any of them. I'd do it again to the judge, the kid, the supermarket, all of them." His lawyer didn't respond, just scribbled something on his legal pad. But Vance leaned in. "You hear me? I want you to smear her. Judge Rivers. Dig up something. A gang-affiliated cousin. A troubled brother. Hell, make it up if you have to. She's black. They'll believe anything." Across the city, Cassandra Riles turned her phone on for the first time in years. She hadn't wanted to see another headline. But when the journalist showed up and said, "They believe you now," she wept not from pain but from validation. In the courtroom, Donald Vance wore the same iron uniform he'd worn the day he struck Judge Alana Rivers. A silent insult. Alana arrived without a robe, just a sharp navy suit. Her bruised lip had faded, but a dried cut still marked the corner of her mouth. She left it visible intentionally. "The court is in session," declared Federal Judge Harvey Glassman, his gavel trembling slightly in his hand. "Prosecution may call its first witness." "Your Honor, we call Judge Alana Rivers." She walked forward, slow, unwavering. No notes, no requests. She swore the oath and stared Vance dead in the eyes. "Judge Rivers, can you describe what occurred on Monday the 9th? Alana inhaled. "Officer Donald Vance entered my courtroom uninvited, verbally attacked my race, my authority, struck me across the face, and called me a black in front of full courtroom." "Objection," Vance's lawyer snapped. Inflammatory language. "Overruled," Glassman said without hesitation. "Continue." Vance scoffed from the defendant's table. "So what if I said it? Nobody's going to believe them. They never do. I was protecting this city while they were leeching off it. Maybe if they acted like humans, they'd get treated like them." Gasp silence and the gavel again. "You are not permitted to speak." Judge Glassman barked. But Vance had already done